Many moms and families dream of building a business but are scared of what it might cost in terms of time, sanity, and relationships. In this episode, I talk with top mindset and entrepreneurship expert, Nicky Billou, author of The Thought Leader's Journey. Stay with me because at the end of this episode, I created a song using AI and it about what it means to be a mamapreneur. Stick around. Don't miss out. Hey friends, welcome to Just Saying. I'm here with Nicky Billou. He's going to help us out today. We're going to talk about how to build a business or how to encourage moms out there just like me to start a business from home while you're working with your kids, or maybe as a side gig, and some of the barriers and some of the things you have to overcome, and actually how easy it is, really, if you think about it. He's a professional motivator, and he really is. You really are, Nicky. You're a really good motivator. So I know firsthand how hard it can be to juggle kids and family and dreams of building something that really matters. This conversation today isn't just about hustling or burnout. It's about hope. And I know a lot of people, they want more for their families and their kids, and to leave them something if they possibly can, for when when their kids are older, and you can pass the business along if you can. That was always my dream, although mine didn't work out as well. Unfortunately, I didn't have a place to go to get support like what I'm trying to provide today, support for women that really would like to try to work from home, build a brand, build a business, and still be there for their kids, nap time, and for making dinner at night and being there for their family. So, and if ever you thought that you weren't good enough, Nick is going to help you decide, or he's going to help you, because you are good enough. You can do this, right?
1,000%. 1,000%.
So I started a business from my living room. My husband said, what are you going to, because we moved here to Bakersfield, and he's like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I used to teach preschool, so I started at a preschool center and here in town. And I always thought to myself, I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and how can I do that? I mean, I do know preschool, so what about doing a family daycare? And so I told my at this time director at the preschool that I wanted to do this, and she says, oh, you don't have what it takes. There goes barrier one. You have people telling you you can't do it, or you don't have what it takes. And, in your mind, you think, well, what does it take? I don't know what it takes. So what I did is I just went online and I researched what it took to do it. And I'm like, all that sounds pretty easy. I could do all that. And I took the baby steps. I got my business name. My name was Creative Kids. It started with a K and it ended with the Z. It's kind of cool, kind of different. And I did my little branding, and I made all the little letters different colors. And I created a logo, as generic as it was a generic logo, but it was good enough. Had a little easel kind of thing. It was good. And so then I, got a business license, or DBA, doing business. And then I had to go through getting licensed with the state of California, which is not easy, but it is doable. Anyways, I took the steps. I had people telling me that I couldn't do it, and I did it. And I started at my living room, and then I was able to purchase a business at a church, and I built that up. And it was just, I had hand over fist. I had people wanting to be in my preschool, and I didn't have room. So then I was offered a commercial property, 10,000 square foot building, 30,000 foot play yard. And I got it took a long time. I did a business plan. I learned online how to do it. I didn't have a degree or anything. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. So I ended up learning online how to build a business plan, and I submitted it to the SBA, and I got a loan for almost $700,000 to build the interior and the play yard. The shell was purchased by the landowner, and I did everything on the inside. And it was Lakeshore. If you ever want to look up really good preschool equipment, lakeshore.com. They are, amazing. It's like magazine ready preschool. That's what my preschool looked like. I'll show some pictures so everybody can see kind of like the family daycare towards what it looked like at the end of the preschool center. But it had a capacity of 208 students, and it had 28 staff members. So I went from just a tiny little thing to a big thing. And had I looked back now, I probably would stay kind of smaller, and I would have done just maybe the church and the family and not did the bigger one. But it is actually, your dream is attainable for those of you who want to do something at home and work with your children, or, you know what I'm saying? It is an attainable dream. You just have to overcome some of the barriers. My first few barriers were not financially. It was more like in my head. Like, I didn't think I was good enough, you know? And so how do you get over some of these barriers in the beginning how do you start small, or how do you do it to get motivated to get yourself to that first step?
That's a fantastic question. So before I answer that, let me just tell you a little bit about my backstory, just so people can get to know me and who I am and what I'm all about. So I'm actually originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. Now, Iran's in the news a lot these days because of the war that Israel is fighting against the Islamic Republic. And like many Iranians, I am cheering on the defeat of the Islamic Republic, and I want our people to overthrow this government. But at the time when I lived in Iran, the Islamic Revolution took place, right? This is when the Islamic Republic first came into being. And there was gun battles in the streets. And my mom and dad were freaking out, you know? And they're like, no gun battles. And so they were thinking, this is not going to be a place to raise a Christian family or any sort of family. So they made a plan, and they got me and my brothers out of Iran. And initially we went to Greece, and we were there for 2 years. And then 2 years after that, we kind of landed in Canada, right? So it took them 2 years to get us out of Iran to Greece, and then 2 years from Greece to Canada. So it took about 4 years in total. And at the time, I was a kid, right? I didn't want to leave my home or my friends. I'm sure you can appreciate that, right? No 11-year-old, no 15-year-old wants to leave their home or their friends.
That's scary.
Yeah, but, you know, as time went on, Jess, I started to see what an incredible, noble sacrifice Mom and Dad made for us. They took everything they knew, everyone they knew, and they put it behind them for a chance at a better life for me and my two brothers. And I started to see what it was like to live in a free society, you know, where you could say what you want about, you know, the mayor or the governor or the president, right? Like in Iran, you did that, you'd get a knock on your door after midnight, and you'd get hauled away, never to be seen again, right? And so I saw, wow, that's incredible. And I believe that everybody wants to be free. And if you want to start a business, you want to be an entrepreneur, like freedom is the bedrock of what makes that possible, right? Without freedom, you can't even think of ideas, let alone propose them to make them happen, right? I mean, what you had to go through in the state of California, you wouldn't be able to do that in Iran unless you bribed somebody, you know what I mean? And anyways, you know, every human heart inside every human breast beats with the beat of freedom. Everyone wants to march to the tune of their own drummer, right? And if you're an entrepreneur, you got to first and foremost be a champion for freedom. And when you see brave people halfway around the world fighting for their freedom, you need to cheer them on, because that's what you got here in America. You have the opportunity to enjoy the blessings of liberty. And liberty is what allows you to start businesses. So you got to stand for freedom here in America, and you got to cheer freedom fighters all around the world that are fighting for their own freedom. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, can I do it? Listen, you live in the freest, greatest nation on the face of the earth. God Almighty gave you this blessing of liberty to be able to do with it what you will. And every day when you get up, all you have to do first and foremost is shout in gratitude and go, God, thank God, God, thank you. I live in a free society, not just a free society, but the freest society in the history of the world. And that gives me the opportunity to take advantage of that freedom and make my dreams come alive. Alive.
I love that.
And that's what it's all about. First and foremost. You know what I'm saying, Jess?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yes, it is there is a sense of freedom of not having to, have to check in with somebody hanging over you or micromanaging your everyday. You can get up, if you decide to sleep in, do it, but you're never going to win that way, people. The early bird does catch the worm and feeds the family. Yeah, I mean, it is freeing. It is. I mean, I constantly am driving to. I mean, I just wrote a book and I just started this podcast and I keep pushing and starting something, starting this and starting that. I mean, I do want financial freedom if I ever can get to that point. It does seem like it's there for the grasping, but sometimes I feel like I'm always falling short. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, remember this. This is one thing I'm going to tell you. Everything that's happening in your life right now is happening for you, not to you. It's happening for you, not to you. God Almighty is making you stronger, is making you more able to deal with what you need to deal with to win. Because listen, if it were easy as falling off a log, everybody'd be doing it. What it needs to be is forging you, strengthening you, lengthening your capacity to fight, to win, to make a difference for your family, for yourself, and for those people that you serve through the vehicle of your business. That's what it's all about, Jess.
I wish I could have you wake me up every morning. I swear. You can
listen to this. You can take what I just said, put it on repeat, and that can be your alarm. When you wake up, 10 minutes of Nicky.
I swear I need you every day. I'd replace you with my coffee. No coffee needed. So how can people do it without you want to pursue entrepreneurship, especially be a mamapreneur. I guess that's how you say it. How do you do it without financially putting your family in debt? I mean, I kind of struggled with that with myself because I built $1 million business, but in 2008, when the economy took a shitter, I ended up injecting money into my business, and my daughter was born with special needs. And I said, I just can't. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't keep putting money there into the business and not be there for my kids. I had to choose. I felt like I had to choose one or the other. And I chose, because I took a stay-at-home job and I turned it into a commercial property job. And I realized had I just stayed home and did the church and stayed home, I would have been there for my kids and I wouldn't have had to give up on what I built. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I felt like I did build $1 million business, but what I really wanted to do was be a stay-at-home mom. And so I really just felt like I needed to be there for my kids. So
listen, you can do both. You can do both. It's not either or, it's both.
Yeah.
You got to just find the right vehicle, right? So if you want to be like a stay-at-home mom, you got to have a business you can run from your house that doesn't require you to be outside working 12, 15, 16-hour days. So in this day and age, one of the things you could do is you could coach mamapreneurs. You could coach them from the comfort of your own home. You never need to leave the house. And instead of doing all this one-on-one coaching, you can have group coaching programs for these ladies. So, 6 to 8 hours a week of the actual coaching, and then maybe another 10, 15 hours a week of stuff you do from home, maybe sales and admin stuff. You're good to go. You could build $1 million business right from the comfort of your own home.
So what are
and still be there for your family? It's doable. It's possible. You and I were talking off camera, a couple of days ago, and I said to you, Jess, I believe that the good Lord puts people together for a reason. And I think that you are somebody with a dream on your heart, a big dream. And yet, because of what happened, that dream, it just has taken a little hiatus. It's gone to sleep. All you needed is somebody to remind you who you really are. Beautiful child of God put here on earth to make great things happen.
Amen. I agree. I agree. I do agree. People put people in your, God puts people in your path for a certain reason. I talk about that in my book a lot, actually. And I do believe that things happen to you for a reason, which I also talk about in my book. Oh, get my book, Bucket List from a Redneck Girl.
I love it. What a great name for a book. Bucket list for redneck girl. Woo!
I come from a small town. That's the other thing too. Is like, it's weird because I have a lot of friends still on Facebook, and they see that I'm doing stuff, and they're like, "Wow, that's exciting." And I'm thinking, like, I guess that maybe if I stayed back in town, and maybe I wouldn't have pursued things or been inspired to do. Or I guess it's just because the road that I traveled and what God put in my path led me to try different things, and also a burning in my heart because I have that mamapreneur, always wanting to be the boss. In fact, my husband always tells me that I'm right about everything. And that's because I'm right about everything.
There you go, girl. There you go.
Let's see. So what are some things that you can suggest that maybe might be some, I mean, I don't know if you have anything off the top of your head, because this isn't a question.
Sure. I'll tell you a couple stories of some clients, some moms that I've worked with, right? So I had this lady, and in fact, she's still a client of mine. Her name's Courtney. She's a mom of two teenage kids, two teenage sons, I think they are. And when we met Courtney, I mean, she'd had a successful business. She'd been a human resources executive at one of these Fortune 500 companies, but she just realized that this was not for her, man. She didn't want to be in human resources for a company. She wanted to chart her own course, just like you. She wanted to be the boss. So she started a business. She started doing okay, but then, Facebook and Meta, their online advertising algorithms changed, so it wasn't so easy for her to get leads on her calendar the way it used to be, right? So she came to us because she was looking for a new way. And here's what we saw. Courtney just needed someone to remind her who she was. Like a lot of good women, moms especially, she kept doubting herself. We called it pissing in her own Cheerios, man. This girl was just pissing in her own Cheerios.
Shooting yourself in your foot is what my dad
called. Right. There you go. So the number one thing we reminded Courtney was, look, let's look at who you really are. So let's be clear. Like, because she just kept doubting herself. I said, do you get results for people? She said, not everybody. And I go, listen, do you get results for people? Majority of people. I said, yes. I said, the people that didn't get results, why? Let's look. So she told me some examples. I go, they either didn't do the work or there were some special circumstances. It wasn't that what she told them didn't work. So I said, so you're clear that what you do works? She goes, yeah. So the number one thing that I want you to do, Courtney, I told her, is I want you to focus on up-leveling your belief. How do you do that? Look at what you're grateful for. So I had her create a table of everything she was grateful for. And once she did that, her energy vibration started to shift, right? And, business, money, it's all energy. Your energy vibration is down, you attract low vibration experiences. Your energy vibration is high, you attract high vibration experiences, right? So she got her energy vibe high, okay, and she made her 1 month over $83,000 in sales in a month, girl. In a month. What? 83. She says coaching people.
Oh, just coaching.
Yeah, she does coaching for people who want to become promoted in their Fortune 500 jobs. That was her whole deal, right? So she'd show them how to get a promotion to the next level. So these are people who want to go be C-suite. You know what I mean? CEO or CFO or CMO. They want to go to that level and they've been stalled out. And the most important thing to remember here for every mom listening to this is, listen, you're great, you're awesome. And it's natural as a mom to second guess yourself. But it's also like the devil getting in your ear and telling you to lie.
That's true.
That's all it is. Because God gave you the hardest job in the world, mom. That is by far the hardest, toughest job in the world. And you're doing good at that. If you're doing good at momming, trust me, entrepreneurship's a breeze compared to it.
Yeah, momming is hard work. Yeah, it's funny because, I understand a lot of women, their husbands are supportive in a lot of things, but when you go to try something that might take a little bit of risk for the family and money risk too as well, starting something new is not always easy. And sometimes it just takes taking the first step, like jumping off the cliff. Just do it. You got to just do it. Like I was telling you, I have lights, you know, and my husband comes in, he's like, didn't we have all this stuff before when you tried photography? You know, and I'm like, yeah, but we sold it. And he's like, ugh, you and your hobbies. You know, but it's not just a hobby. It's like something I'm trying to build a community of moms and families that, you know, might need a little bit of encouragement, might need a little bit of information, or to see that someone like me that came from a small town community can build something that's important to other people. You know, I can do it. You can do it, basically.
100% you can do it. And listen, your husband, like, his job's to be your husband, right? You can't have him be your business advisor.
This is true.
Because that's not his deal. It's not what he's good at. His job is to love you, help you raise the family, you know, provide, protect, all that. You want to do business, you need to work with like a professional advisor, a coach, a guide, someone like me, right? Because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about, right? He doesn't. He's just coming from fear. And that's not his job. You go to people for their strengths.
Right.
You don't go to them for where they're not strong. It's actually not fair to him, right?
Or if it's something that you've been through that's traumatic, or that you were able to overcome, you're an expert because you lived it. You walked in those shoes. You can totally be there to be a counselor or a guidance person, or somebody that has walked in these shoes and can inform other people about that. Could be drug use, or it could be
exactly
right.
You need professional advice and expertise. That's the point that I'm trying to make here for you,
right?
So, like, you know, one of my I used to be a fitness coach, right? And one of my clients is a very famous writer by the name of Robin Sharma. His most famous book is called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Good title, eh?
Yeah, that's
so great. It sold like millions and millions and millions of copies, right? So I'm with Robin, right? And I'm going, Robin, man, I want to double my business. How do I double my business? You help people with all that. So how does that happen? He said, okay, easy. See, I'm going to tell you. He said, if you want to double your business in a year, what you need to do is triple your investment in personal and professional development. I go, what do you mean by that? He said, last year, did you have a coach? Sort of. So you're part of like any sort of a program for growing your business? I go, yeah. He said, did you attend any business conferences? Yeah. You part of a mastermind? No. He said, well, what's the total amount you spent last year on all that? I said, maybe $5,000. He said, this year you got to spend 15. I'm like, 15? Well, that's a big jump, right? So this was like back in 2008, right? I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together back then, right? So he said, look, if you triple how much you invest in you, you'll double the size of your business. And I said, well, explain this to me because I'm not getting it. He said, well, you're a business, right? I go, yep. You have assets in your business, right? I go, yep. So, you know, businesses invest in their assets, right? That's how they make money, is they invest in assets. I'm like, okay, Dan, that makes sense. He said, well, what's the most important asset in your business as a personal fitness coach? I go, I guess it's me and my knowledge, my expertise. He goes, exactly. You're the most important asset in your business. So you need the most investment.
Yeah, and
said, your coaches have got you to where you are today. If you want to be better, you need better coaches. You need a mastermind. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I did what he said. I tripled the investment. And believe me, at the time, it was a little scary, right? Because
well, how do you overcome that when you don't have the 2 pennies to rub together, but you do need?
Well, that's a really good question, right? So, one of my other mentors said to me, if you ever want to succeed, you have to embrace 4 qualities. The first one is you have to be decisive. You can't be like, it would be nice for me to grow my business. You got to go, I'm growing my business. I'm growing it. That's it. There's no kicking the tire. It's like I'm buying the car. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm buying the car. I don't have all the money, but I'm buying the car, right? Secondly, you got to commit to getting good at the business. So for me, it was like getting clients at higher prices. That's what I had to commit to, right? And at first, you're going to suck at it. Now, Jess, suck is a technical business term. I'm sure you've heard this technical business term before. Suck. It means your skills are not quite well developed. That's what it means.
I think I'm there right now.
So But here's the deal. You sucked at everything at first. You sucked at walking. You sucked at riding a bike. You sucked at dressing yourself. But today, you are an expert walker, Jess. You are like one of the best walkers the world has ever seen. You are expert at dressing yourself. You can even pick out colors and schemes and make them match up. Oh my God. How did that happen? You know how that happened, Jess? You were committed to get better and you kept at it. Commitment means once you do it, you stop sucking. Then you're just mediocre. You're just mediocre. And then if you're mediocre long enough, then you're good. Then you're actually good.
You start
and then if you're good long enough, then you're great.
Yeah.
So you gotta commit. It's you commit to the process, not the goal. You hear what I'm saying? You write this down, everybody. Commit to the process, not the goal. The goal is a byproduct of a commitment to the process. And then you got to commit to spending money on yourself, investing in yourself, being coachable, taking coaching. And then finally, you got to get resourceful because people tell me all the time, oh my God, I don't have the money. I can't do it. How am I going to do it, Nicky? Oh my God, I can't do it. I'm like, seriously? You gave birth to something the size of a watermelon from a hole the size of a grapefruit. Right. You did that, and you're telling me you dare do something as simple as find some money. Just like it's a real, like just give me a break, right? Just give me a break. Like, oh, let's get serious with each other, okay? You can do it if you're committed. The facts don't count if you're committed. Write that down. The facts don't count if you're committed. So, decisive, committed, coachable, resourceful. And I'll tell you a story. So this could be like a good final story for us to land the plane on this interview. So several years ago, I was married, and my then wife decided she didn't want to be married to me anymore. Now, I didn't see it coming, and maybe I should have, but I found myself out on my butt, couldn't see my kids, sleeping on my mother's couch, making no money, grown-ass man with 2 sons, okay? And I felt sorry for myself, and my belief in myself was way down. A friend of mine took pity on me. He bought me a ticket to a business conference. So we went to this business conference, and I saw this man deliver a talk, and it spoke to my heart and soul. So as soon as he finished his talk, I elbowed everybody out of the way, and I got to him first. And his name was Bill. And I said, hey, Bill, my name's Nicky. Let me tell you my story. And I told him my story. And I was done telling my story. I said, I think I need to hire you to help me out. Now, I was really nervous because, I had no money. Right? And he said to me, okay. He says, listen, I just need you to know that I have 3 programs. The least expensive one is $5,000. I require payment upfront in full in advance. And I offer no guarantees and no refunds for any reason. You still want to hire me, son? And I'm like, oh my God. I said, well, I don't have that kind of money. I don't have any. He said, okay, I'll give you some free coaching. I'm like, free coaching? That sounds amazing. Give me some free coaching, Bill. Let's go, Bill. So Bill said to me, it doesn't matter how much money you have. And I said, hold up, Bill, hold up. You just said you want $5,000 from me. Of course it matters how much money I have. And he said, Nicky, you see these 20 people behind you? They're all lined up because they want to work with me. I don't need your money. You need me. I hated to admit it, but he was right. And he said, let me reiterate, it doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is how bad do you want change right now? He said, you are sleeping on your mother's couch. Your wife kicked you out of the house. You haven't seen your sons and you feel like a loser. How bad do you want change? You ready to keep this up? This crappy situation another day, another week, another month, year, for the rest of your life? I'm like, whoa. I said, okay. Give me a couple days. I'm going to come back to you. So what I did, he lit a fire under me, right? So I called these people, and I was a fitness coach back then. And I'm telling them, hey, I need to talk to you. And they go, all right. I said, listen, I got good news for you. They said, what's the good news? I said, here's the good news, but I also have bad news. The good news is you're fat and you need to lose weight because if you don't, you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke. And that's going to hurt you, obviously, and your family. You go, yeah, that's true. right? That's the bad news part of it. And I said, the good news part of it is I'm broke. I need money so I can be allowed to see my kids. I told these people about the situation, right? And I said, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the deal of a lifetime, half price. Half price. They go, half price, good. I said, yeah, but here's the catch. I need a yes or no now. And if it's a yes, I need the money right now, in full, in advance. So 2 guys said yes, and they gave me $1,000 each. So I had $2,000. This is the first money I'd made in a year, Jess. In a year. I was over the moon, excited, money in my hands. So I go see this man, Bill, and I drop the money in front of him. And I go, here you go, let's go. And he looks at me and he goes, this is great, Nicky, but this is only $2,000. I said, 5. And like my face fell. I'm like, oh. I said to him, Bill, how many people have you told this story to over the years? He said, oh, over the years, maybe 30 or 40. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. He said, yeah. I said, besides me, who came back with money? Now, he got a little embarrassed. He said, oh, well, you're the first. I'm like, I'm the first. He goes, you're the first. I'm like, the first? The first. I said, then, Bill, take my $2,000. I'm going to sign a contract saying I'll pay you the balance in 30, 60 days, whatever the case may be. Because, Bill, I want change. Bad. So, now, what you need to understand, Jess, is I generated 6 figures in the next less than 6 months. I paid him early. I paid him earlier than the contract called for. Why? Because I wanted change bad. And I'm asking you, and I'm asking your listener, how bad do you want change? Because if you want change, you will find a way. And if you really don't want change and you're fooling yourself, then any old excuse will do. The dog ate my motivation is just as good as I don't have the money. I mean, listen, you told me you got a $700,000 loan from the SBA. You're telling me you can't get a $10,000 loan? $10,000 somehow, some way, if you had to invest in yourself?
That's true. You're talking me into it. Yeah, coaching is as important. If you're looking for something for at home, and you don't know exactly how to get it started, what I first did was I went online and I researched on YouTube how to do podcasting. I know nothing about this, right? But there comes to a point where it won't be able to give you all the information you need. And
Sure.
you're gonna hit a plateau, and you're like, but I need to get to the next level. You guys showed me how to set up my camera, and what resources to upload my stuff to, and about Spotify and all that other stuff. But like, what's the next step in my journey? And that is something you have to seek out through expertise. And yeah, so sometimes, and like there was somebody that through YouTube I found, Pat Flynn, and he said when it comes to podcasting, you have to cringe before they'll binge, which means all my episodes in the beginning probably will be cringy. I'll look back and I will probably be, oh, this is cringing me. Like, it's so cringing, but
it's a start.
You have to start on baby steps. And once you get going and you hit a certain point, you're going to have to look beyond what your current knowledge is, and for some help to take you to the next level. But
exactly.
Look at what I'm saying for mommies who want to be mamapreneurs, if I can say the word correctly, I guess would just be find your niche, find the thing that that you feel that maybe it's making bows. I don't know. I did that for a little while. I'm always trying to be creative. I started a little bow business because I thought making bows for my daughter's hair was great, but maybe I can make a business out of it. I didn't get very far because I wasn't as passionate for that as, I am for other things, but find the spark, that will make you love to go to work every day, and try to make that your your business, or research on businesses that you can do from home and see if you find something that would be a good niche for you. But then make sure that you're not just that you take it to the next level, that like you said, coaching. Find somebody
Yeah.
that's done it, walked in the shoes, that can guide you through it.
Amen. So listen, like for you, I'd brand you as the redneck mamapreneur coach, right? And
I almost called my podcast The Redneck Girl, but I think it was taken.
no, it's all right. Redneck mamapreneur is a good one. That's a good one. I would get you taught finding moms that self-identify that way and either have a business or want to start a business, and then you provide a coaching program for them because you've built some businesses, and you'll just like step by step walk them through doing it.
Yeah,
And you
I've
be their
fallen. I have skinny
encourager
knees.
in chief. That's your job. You're the encourager in chief. Like
Yeah.
that's what professionally, what I do is I believe in people. I believe in people. My dad taught me that. He said, everyone needs someone to believe in them. Me, you, everybody. They just need that little bit of encouragement. That little spark of belief will turn into a roaring fire. That's all you need. And that's all you need to do for other people. And when you do it for other people, you're doing it for yourself too.
Well, I appreciate you being here. Is there somewhere where my listeners can go to find you, and or do
Sure.
you have a book or something that you would like to
Yeah.
share?
I got like I got a bunch of books on Amazon, but there's one that I also offer. The Kindle version of it is a free download. You go to ecircleacademy.com/T, the letter L, J book, TLJ book, ecircleacademy.com/TLJ book. That's my book, The Thought Leader's Journey. And it's for someone starting a business for the first time. So it's kind of a nice idea to go in there, and there's some good specific advice there on steps to take: step 1, step 2, step 3. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I do appreciate you coming on today, and I know that people have good takeaway, and we had a good conversation. I'd love to have you back on again whenever, maybe a little bit down. I can, when we've had some coaching, and we can show progress. Where I am now, I'm in the cringeworthy stage of my podcasting, but maybe down the road we can revisit this. And I do appreciate you coming out, and everybody find Nicky online and find him on Amazon. Find his book. It's worth waiting. Awesome.
Thank you. Much
Thank you
appreciated.
so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Take care.
Started with nothing but a spark and a name. One desk, one dream, and a hunger for change. Cold coffee days and sleepless nights, chasing a vision, dodging the fights. Doubt in the mirror, bills at the door, but I kept on building, wanting more. Friends said I'm crazy, bank said no, but I found light where others won't go. Turned every failure into a plan, took every fall and learned to stand. I built this dream brick by brick, through firestorms and chances missed. Every scar's a badge I wear, proof that I was always there. They only see the win today, but I earned it all the harder way. Tax forms and tangled legal ties, burnout nights and teary goodbyes. Lost a few friends, gained my pride, found my team by my side. I built this dream brick by brick, through firestorms and chances missed. Every scar's a badge I wear, proof that I was always there. They only see the win today, these halls I made. From sleepless plans to a brand new day. They said it's luck, no, it's grit and grind. 1,000 no's to one gold sign. I built this dream brick by brick, through firestorms and chances missed. Every scar's a badge I wear, proof that I was always there. They only see the win today, but I earned it all the hard way. One desk, one name, one shot to try. That's how empires learn to fly.